Search continues for the people responsible for a subway shooting in the Bronx that killed one person and injured 5 others Monday. Police say the shooting happened on a northbound 4 train after a fight started inside the subway car, continued on the platform at the Mount Eden subway station on Jerome Avenue. Joining us now to discuss is CBS law enforcement contributor and former deputy commissioner with the NYPD, Richard Esposito. Mr. Esposito, great to see you as always. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Police are still looking for the suspects after something like this. What steps do the NYPD take to narrow down and find those responsible? Because you know what it's like out there. There's a lot of people. Everybody scatters.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody scatters. But, you know, they had someone in the hospital who was involved in the incident, so they've got someone they're already questioning. They have good video of others involved in the incident, and there were a great many witnesses who were able to identify people. So they had a lot to begin their search with. And that's what they're continuing to do now.
Now, police say this shooting was an isolated incident, but how common are situations like this? I mean, you've got 2 groups. Obviously, there's an argument, and sadly, those groups are armed, and then it turns into a shootout.
It's probably one of the more frightening things that you can experience, Chris. You know, there are very few shootings, in fact, on the subway. I think there were 6 last year out of about 974 incidents like that in the city. But with 3 million people riding it every day, it's the lifeblood of the city. So the fear spreads wide, even though the amount of incidents are really limited.
And that's what it really boils down to. It's the perception, whether it's you've got the mental health crisis that seems to migrate below ground during these colder months, whether it's the stories of people being pushed on tracks, stabbings. This one obviously is shooting. It makes it seem like there is a much bigger pervasive crime issue on the subway system than that really exists, because then you hear numbers of some of the numbers that the NYPD and the MTA have of crime numbers being down. The two almost don't mesh.
You know, numbers and fear are such very different things. You know, 3 million people a day ride the subway. I mean, if you think of the staggering amount of people spending 15 to 40 minutes on their commutes, one of these incidents has everybody sitting there on edge as they're heading to work, heading to school. So it's the fear, and that's why police really work so hard to keep incidents on the subway down, because whether it's a pushing, a shoving, or a shooting, each of these things really resonates through our city.
Safety obviously is a big concern for riders, especially after something like this, as you mentioned. How can the NYPD, though, address the concern and get more officers involved? Is it possible? It seems as though there's a lot of officers underground to begin with.
You know, they have thousands of officers patrolling the subway, and as you know, whenever there's certain kinds of incidents, they step up that number. So, you know, what can they do? I think they're doing a very good job, Chris, of whether it's stopping people at turnstiles, being on the platforms, using their surveillance cameras. One of the things they can look at is, are those cameras all working properly? Are they getting the feeds they need out of them? And that's something that I know they're looking at.
I want to ask you just kind of a bigger picture as it relates to guns and the amount of illegal guns that are on the streets right now. Jana Lieber, head of the MTA, praising Governor Hochul and Mayor Adams for doing all they can to get guns off the streets so problems like this don't exist on the subways or other parts of the city. But how big a problem are illegal guns right now, and ghost guns and things like that in the area?
You know, how big a problem? I don't think, when you look at it, almost all crime that's committed with a gun is committed with an illegal gun. So you rarely see it otherwise. So it's a significant problem. Ghost guns are the latest piece of the problem. There's a constant effort on the part of the police, on the part of the alcohol, tobacco, firearms, federal government in cracking down on the ability to get those guns. And that's the challenge.
All right, CBS law enforcement contributor and former deputy commissioner with the NYPD, Richard Esposito, thank you so much. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Chris.
We'll
Thank you.
Soon. Okay.